What's up, friends? Welcome back to the podcast. This is The Beautiful Mess. You're in the right spot. Stay here. I'm with my good friend Spencer Pugh. Spencer Pugh is an awesome man. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hey, I'm Spencer. I run marketing at a company called AgendaCare here in Roanoke, Virginia, and loving this podcast with Paul. Paul, go for it.
Hey, I'm loving it too. I'm Paul. I do content creation and I'm a YouTuber, now a podcaster. I'm super excited for that. Thank you, Spencer, for pushing me off the ledge and helping me take the leap of faith to start this thing. It's been nothing but awesomeness. I mean, it's amazing where things have come so far. And as we wrap up, we're recording this on December 29th. When you listen to it, it's probably mid-January. But I'm amazed if you count this episode 0. We have 5 episodes and we've had 277 plays, which is awesome. And then we've got listeners in India, Singapore, United Kingdom, Puerto Rico, Bulgaria, Vietnam. Super excited to have you on. And today I just want to highlight one of our reviews. If you leave us a review, we'd love to highlight it in our next episode. So be sure to leave one on Apple Podcasts and now on Spotify as well. If you wouldn't mind, follow us, rate, subscribe. We've got the YouTube channel. You got basically wherever you listen to podcasts, just go there. Be part of the messy fam. We'd love to have you with us. So we've got this review. It says, great! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. The last episode was very helpful for me. So thank you so much for that review. We're glad you're finding value from this. We hope that our experiences and what we learn as we go along with life are helpful to you. And as we embrace the messiness and just keep going. We're in the trenches. I was just thinking about this morning, how important it is to be the man in the arena. I don't know if you've read that segment from, who is it? Winston Churchill, I believe it is.
Ooh, sounds like I need to.
Yeah, it's just like a short, I think it's from one of his speeches maybe, but it's really cool. Basically, he talks about how like the critic, there's someone on the outside that's like looking in and they're the people that are like basically judging that person. They're saying like, you know, you fell, they're like mocking him. But like the man in the arena, the person that's got like sweat, blood, tears, you know, like they're the people that are really putting in the effort and getting the job done. And so like, I think in life, it's important to be that man in the arena and put in the effort. Like, even if you fall, it's a beautiful mess. I mean, that. Maybe that's our mascot for the beautiful mess, the man in the arena.
Cool. Paul, what are we talking about today? Pretty interesting topic.
Just like the man in the arena, we're going to talk about how you can set yourself up for success. No matter when you're listening to this podcast, obviously this is geared towards starting the new year off right. We're talking about this 4 human elements, like basic human elements that you should be incorporating in your life to better yourself, to grow as a person. So the 4 elements, we have physical, we have emotional, we have intellectual, and spiritual. So from my experience, if you've got all of those 4 areas right, or even like if you've got one, if you're working on it, like it makes a world of difference. I don't know, Spencer, have you experienced that?
Yeah, I think it's pretty natural. I think I've talked a lot in the past about like the do more better and setting these priorities. And it's kind of these 4 cornerstones, I guess. They sort of naturally fall out in front of you. So not specific to this model or this book, which we'll talk about. But I think in life, I've naturally sort of found that if you have a good balance of those things and you're focusing on them, you're doing okay. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And let's just dive right in. I think the first one, physical. So I got these ideas, just to be clear, from Matthew Kelly. He's got a book called The Rhythm of Life. You're welcome to check that out if you want. And then I'm also kind of maybe adding in, I've never read this book, but I love the ideas from this book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. I guess I've read enough to have like maybe the Cliff Notes version, but basically, you know, making habits that'll be atomic, I guess.
Maybe you need to read it.
Right. But like basically, you know, things that you can do that'll make a big difference in your life, you know, those little incremental things that you do on a day-to-day basis. Because like some people think, oh, I want to do maybe a YouTube channel, and they don't know where to start, and they're just trying to bite the whole elephant elephant at once, and instead of taking it in increments. So physical, don't just think about like doing exercise, but do it. I would highly recommend it, but like also just the basics. Drink water, get enough sleep, set yourself up for success. I mean, Spencer, maybe, I don't know if there's a time in your life where you felt like you had something like in the physical element right, even if it was messy. Like, I don't know if you have experience to share.
Yeah, I think Maria and I did some personal training stuff with a good friend of ours just down the street here from my work, actually. We were with him for about a year, and it was good. I mean, I think it's one of those things where, when you really sort of start to prioritize that and take it seriously, I think all elements of being healthy sort of just kind of fall naturally. So like we were working out and expending like 1,000+ calories per workout 2 to 3 times a week with him. And like your body needs to eat and like, refill those calories, and like you need more water, you're sweating a lot. So like, it's interesting. It's like if you try to focus, even, I don't know, just coming up with this off the spot, but it feels right to me. Like, even if you're like, I'm going to focus on drinking enough water every day, it's almost like that mindset or that atomic habit of trying to just drink better water will start to get your mind thinking like, okay, well, I've found more energy. I feel better about drinking more water. Maybe like, let's look into eating healthier. Like it's this like natural, it is sort of like a lifestyle change in a way, even if you start at that really small atomic habit level. So, that was a time where we felt super healthy. Right now, not so much, but I'm hoping this year to get back into it in some respect. So how about you? I know right now
That's awesome.
You're doing some CrossFit, feeling good.
Oh man. Yeah. CrossFit. Like if anyone has any hesitations about CrossFit, I would suggest looking into it and check out your local gym, because like I'm so glad I did. I was just looking for a way to get physically fit. That was like one of my goals for 2021. I was like, I'm going to get physically fit, and you can put it off, and you can put it off. And then eventually I was like, okay, I'm just going to go. I'm going to check it out, see what it's like. And I'm so glad. This was actually the first gym that I went to, and it just was right. Because I felt like they were invested in me.
Nice. Love that.
As a person, like they were actually interested. They had me like write out what I wanted to get out of it. And so like that to me was, okay, they want, more than just like you to pay your membership. Like it's like you're part of a community. And that's really important. If you're looking to get physically fit, I'd highly recommend, instead of just like going on your own. I mean, getting a gym membership is great, but I think having like a class or a, community like CrossFit, where you can really work out as a group, like you're going through that pain, the suffering that the same people are experiencing. And I think that encourages you to do better. And I haven't experienced it where like people are like judging you. Like I'm a newbie. So like there's stuff that I can't do that other people can do. But it's a community of support and encouragement. So find that community if you want to get, better at what you're doing physically. And yeah, it doesn't matter where you're starting. Like there are people that are in all walks. So don't be embarrassed to start messy.
Love it.
So, and then one other thing that I feel like you become like alive as a person is when you have your relationships just right. So the next element we're going to talk about is like the emotional side of things. I know that's can be like a hard topic for a lot of people because, sometimes you want to have better relationships, or, you want to, build on those friendships that you already have, but you just don't know how, or like, you feel like, oh, that other person's busy. I can't bombard them and ask them like, hey, let's go out for a coffee, or like, hey, let's go watch a movie or something. I don't know, Spencer, have you experienced that? Like where like you want to invite someone to do something and sometimes it just feels like, oh, like they're too busy, or maybe you haven't experienced that.
I think more so than that, like just in my experience lately in my life, having a kid and everything, it's just, and even like right after college, like college was so easy. It was like, yes. Hey roommate, let's go get food right now. And it's like, okay. And like you hop in the car, you go somewhere. It was just so easy to like hang out And I remember Maria and I moved into an apartment complex right after we got married. And my roommate from all 3 years of college lived in the same apartment complex. And I saw him like 3 times. And it was like literally a minute like or less, 20-second walk from my house. And it's just this like, I don't know, man. It's weird. It's like adulthood is just tough, like schedules and calendars. And especially now with a kid, it's just like, even trying to be intentional, it's like, I'm going to hang out with one friend every week. It's like, okay, great. Well, if they can, like if they're able to do that kind of thing. So yeah, it's tough. That's more so what I'm dealing with right now. How about you?
Absolutely. I mean, I can speak to the same thing. It's like in college, it was very easy to hang out with people. Like you had that natural group of friends, but now it's like you have to put an effort in.
Like a massive effort.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, especially like you were saying, like once you have kids, it makes it 10 times harder to get together because then you're like, the house is a mess. It's going to take a lot of effort to like clean things up, maybe put on a meal, set whatever it is. But it just makes it 10 times harder once you have kids. And so like, I think it's easy to start isolating yourself where it's just like you start like forming your relationships and this is good too, like obviously work at home, maybe your extended family, but like sometimes it's hard to make those meaningful connections. And I will say that Spencer being right here, right now was one of those decisions on my part. I was like, hey, like I'm going to reach out to this awesome guy. I think we share a lot of things in common. And I actually feel like this podcast is like kind of the fruit of that because I felt like, we both have a lot in common. And I mean, hopefully this friendship will grow as time goes on. And like, that was an intentional decision, which obviously has bore fruit from it. I mean, that you're listening to this podcast. So yeah, make those decisions and volunteer. Like, I will admit, I need to do this, but like volunteering, like it's shown, I mean, it's good, like as on its own, but like there are health benefits. There are like so many benefits to volunteering and helping others. I've experienced it. I haven't been doing it recently, but I know from experience, like you feel so amazing when you help other people. And that could take different forms. Maybe it's just like mentoring somebody. Something more than somebody else, and you can share that knowledge with them.
I love that. And we talk about this all the time. Like, even if you're not the guru on a topic, if you're one step ahead of somebody, then you know more and you can help them. Yeah, absolutely. Here's a quick tip. If you want to make it easier on yourself connecting with friends, start a business with somebody, and then you have to be with them all the time, right?
I feel like that could be like a double-edged sword.
Oh, it is.
I've heard you speak as though you've like done it from experience. Is that so?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We started a coffee company with 2 people that we knew like them growing up, but like weren't like friends and didn't really talk to them. But in our adulthood, we met. Maria and Sarah wanted to like get together and hang out. They both had they love babies, and we got together with them, told them about our coffee idea, and they were like, yeah, let's do it. And we were like, oh, cool. And so we like started a business with them. Like, it's crazy. It's like we're friends, but also have to be business partners, and there's some good and bad. And I don't know. It's fun, man. I don't know.
So it sounds like it's been a good learning experience.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, it probably wasn't the best idea, but it's not, it hasn't hurt us in any way. So, and even things like this podcast, like, we at first we were like, let's just get together weekly and just talk about stuff. And I was like, hey, this stuff's cool. Let's put a microphone in front of us. And now we're kind of like committed to learning and friendship together. So I don't know. It can be beneficial, I think, as long as, I guess the big thing is like set the boundaries and like make each other know, like, if this doesn't work out, it's okay. Like we can still be friends, and, the relationship talk. It's not you, it's me kind of thing. So anyway,
feel free to let me know when it's me.
Yeah, I will. I'll be open and honest with you. Same. You do the same.
Yeah, no, I just want to say real quick that even just setting up a phone call with somebody on a weekly basis like this, I've done it with someone else as well. And like, it makes a big difference when you're, looking forward or like, that you're going to be talking to somebody about something. It encourages you to either get more done or I'm talking in particular about like, if you're talking to them maybe in more of a business sense or just like a relationship that's meant towards like growth and development. I've definitely experienced where that friendship has encouraged me to reach more or like they make me think about things I haven't thought about myself. So let's, I guess, transition. This is a perfect transition into the intellectual side of like what to think about, what to do. Spencer, I don't know, like, what do you do now to like continually grow intellectually?
Yeah, just learn, man. You and I talk about books, audiobooks, that kind of thing, videos. Recently, I've been thinking of focusing some of my learning on looking at other chief marketing officers who have gone before me. And in fact, there's a book right now I'm listening to, and it's like X number of chief marketing officers, and they're all interviewed, and like it's super eye opening. Like these are CMOs of like PayPal and like all sorts of different types of, like there was the CMO of Harvard Business School or something like that. So just trying to learn from the people who have gone before me in my career path that I'm headed in, and it's nice because it helps me say like, okay, I'm learning and concentrating on the right things to increase my career or further my career, but also maybe I haven't thought about this or this. And so obviously there's plenty of ways to learn and grow in your career and your life in general. But, books, audiobooks are like my go-to, even beyond, like, I love podcasts, but I feel like podcasts can be a wash a lot of times. There's just hours and hours of content. And I feel like audiobooks and books in general are just more concise, and like you get that value in a more condensed fashion. So I enjoy audiobooks over podcasts, but I still listen to podcasts as well. Those can be a great resource. So
yeah, it's actually interesting. I guess one of the number one reasons why people listen to podcasts is for learning. And I think the one benefit over a podcast is that you can probably get a little bit more cutting edge information just because they're not formulating these ideas. I mean, granted, there's probably not too much new these days, but it's just like the packaging of that information.
Yeah. And it depends. It depends what the topic, industry, if you're wanting to learn about like social media or digital marketing, I would probably pick like a podcast over an audiobook just because like tomorrow it can change. So that's kind of your point is, depending on the type of knowledge you might want, I mean, especially like cryptocurrency or something, like listen to a podcast because a book will be outdated tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I think books are awesome. I want to say also YouTube University. I'm a big fan of YouTube.
Me too, man.
And there's so much like, and you can see it, you can, learn from other creators or, what they've done, what they've made mistakes on. A great resource. And then personally, I know Spencer mentioned a book that he's reading right now. I'm a couple of books, but one in particular that I want to mention is Barking Up the Wrong Tree by Eric Barker. I think it is.
Hello.
I don't know if that's a stage name or not, but yeah, Eric Barker. I've enjoyed, it's funny, I've enjoyed some, like he writes for some kind of journal, I think a big journal, but anyways, like he used to have like an email list, and I like remember getting those emails like probably in college. And recently I finally got this book. I was looking forward to reading this book, and it's like really, really cool. His insights, and it's very practical, but it's also telling these awesome, like cool stories. I love it when, authors can like tell those stories and make you learn at the same time.
Yeah. Same.
Those books are my favorite.
Mine too, just to throw it out there in case you are interested. Chief Marketing Officers at Work by Josh Stiemel. Sure. And it's really cool.
As we go along, maybe we should have like the book of the, what book we're reading right now, because I think everyone's looking for more books to read. And I think, especially if you can get a recommendation from somebody, I don't think we'll ever mention a book that we're hating, unless we want to share that with you. Don't read this book.
Yeah.
But I think always have a reading list like that you can go to and just be like, I'm going to just read the next book. That's one of my hopes, is to create like a list that I can just like read that one, next one, and pick and choose. Like that's the beauty of today. You have, I heard this on a podcast actually, like you have Alexandria like at your fingertips.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing.
Well put.
You just have to, you know, choose your adventure. So next up, on this like idea of staying fully alive as a human is like this spiritual element. And to me, like it's so important to kind of connect with this idea of like transcendentals. So like they have three transcendentals. You got truth, beauty, goodness. And let's be real, when you've experienced some beauty, like you experience this beautiful song, like it takes you to like a whole, you know, it transcends you from your like day to day. Like it can like, you know, elevate you to something higher. Or like when you come in contact with a truth, it's just like, wow, that like really made an impact on me. Or goodness, like you see someone doing good acts in the world. So I think it's important to like view your life through those lenses. Like, are you, you know, finding opportunities to come in contact with like the transcendentals, by, you know, taking time to think about your life, like think about your death even. I know that sounds morbid, but I think, you know, people say like, picture your, you know, funeral. Like, what does that look like? What are people saying about you? And, you know, kind of reconstructing from the end backwards. Like, what can you do now to get to that? So,
yeah, just that reminder. What is it? Memento Mori, I think.
Yeah. Remember your death.
Yeah. Just knowing that that's going to happen inevitably. As far as we know, you know, people can't live forever yet, but spending time, I guess, outside of the day to day, outside of, you know, wake up, go to work, come home, you know, just kind of trying to, you know, look at your life as a whole, as the world, as the universe as a whole, how you connect with other people, or like you're saying, connecting with some divine power, setting that time aside and, you know, making it one of your pillars.
I think, you know, you just always need to be striving towards truth. Like, I think in the end, you know, you don't want to live a life of a lie, no matter what. And like to be able to come closer to the truth and like be willing to admit that you didn't know something, or that, you know, just to be humble about like learning and just like, you know, taking life one step at a time. I think it's so important, and entering into silence. I think you can learn a lot about yourself in silence.
Oh yeah.
You know, when you push away the noise, like our social media is ever present. Actually my phone's up there. I was going to pull up my phone. But like basically, you know, we have this device at our fingertips all the time. And I mean, I'll admit, like I rarely, you know, it's tough to find time to like just set it aside. I think you have to be intentional about that. It's actually funny. Recently, I've been giving my kids these little like tickets or like these little certificates, and I like write daddy time. And so it's like one little like intentional way of like giving my kids time with me. So like, I mean, it's ridiculous that I have to do that even, but like, I think it is like helpful sometimes, just like, you know, you use that ticket. Let's spend some time together, intentional time, just one-on-one with like one of my kids. And I think, you know, it's borne a lot of fruit from having that time, like intentionally.
And I'll say too, the way of the world with technology, I read an article the other day, Apple's trying to, I don't know what truth this is. I know that they are creating these augmented reality glasses. Basically, it's just going to be a phone on your face, if you can imagine that. And I read an article saying like their goal is to move away from phones and basically just like, I think technology is moving towards like us and technology just becoming the same thing. And at some point, like social media will just be literally in front of your face all the time. And so like as a society, we're not really headed towards quiet time. We're headed towards being connected 24/7. So just, you know, being ready for that and, you know, setting that time aside, being conscious of it, super important, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, find some quiet time that you can disconnect from your devices, whether that's 10, 15, 20 minutes. Even that will do a lot just to help you grow and develop as a person.
Yeah. Well, four
Cool.
pillars, right?
Yeah.
4 pillars. What does he call them? 4 areas.
Actually, it's funny you say 4 pillars because I think it actually, he talks about some kind of pillars at one of his things. So I don't know if these are the pillars or what, but in the article that I found, because I've read his book, The Rhythm of Life, but in the article, I think it might have been an excerpt from the book. It was 4 aspects of like human existence. I don't know. But basically it's like, the fundamentals of life is like, you got your physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. If you got those right, you're doing well. You're doing well. So encourage you to really think about those because, let's be honest, like a lot of people are striving to be healthy. They're striving to be wealthy, fit, to both mentally, spiritually, physically, so invest in yourself. Think about what you can do. So I think now let's like to kind of go to the takeaways, what you can take away from this podcast and apply to your life today. I'd start out by choosing one thing to work on in each of those areas. So I'll start out with like the physical. Maybe it's finding a gym and just like committing to 3 times a week. It's good to specify where and when and how often you'll be doing this activity because you're more likely, I think studies show that you're more likely to actually do something if you kind of make the specifics, because if you just leave it open and like get fit, you're likely not to really take action and make measurable steps. So really dial that in. So I don't know. Do you have anything for emotional recommendations, like what people can do?
I think it's similar. I with all these things, these like starting with Atomic Habits, make it almost laughably easy to start. So maybe it's, calling a friend once a month. If you feel like you can do that, start there and then, see how that goes. And then you're like, I could do twice a month. That's easy. Instead of saying like, I'm going to call someone every day, which you might go a week and only call 6 people instead of 7. And then you're like, that was a terrible idea anyway, and fail. Start laughably easy. So that's what I would say. Maybe just calling a friend or even just texting something, a compliment or, hey, I miss you, thinking about you. I think that that would be a good start.
Yeah. And on that note, I think it's important to spend carefree timelessness with... I'm just laughing because Spencer and I just spent time trying to figure out what this word I was trying to figure out was, and it's carefree timelessness.
Carefree timelessness.
So Matthew Kelly talks about this idea that like you need to spend carefree timelessness to develop relationships with those that you love. Just take that time. It doesn't necessarily have to be quality time. I mean, like, granted, that's great too, but like just carefree, like just do it. What you invest in, you'll get returns,
Love it. Intellectual, right? That's the next one.
Intellectual. Yeah. So, I mean, I would say like, make a book list and start like making a habit of, maybe it's on your commute. You listen to an audiobook. Maybe it's while you're getting ready. We recently got like the Echo Dot from Alexa. I mean, I don't know if I want to plug it, but anyways, we got like a speaker that like you can listen to audiobooks. And so it's been helpful like when you're doing the dishes or even with the AirPods, you can, while you're doing just like chores or something, you can listen to audiobooks. So you're doing 2 things at once, 2 birds, 1 stone.
There you go. I also, I'm aware of 2 apps. One is called Blinkist and the other is Headway. And they're basically like summarized versions of a lot of popular books. So I think you pay like monthly and you can listen to as many as you want. But basically people go through books, find the really important points, and then they make like a short audiobook out of it. So this is like 10, 15 minutes of listening And they have different sort of plans. Like you can like go down a financial 30-day journey and listen to like 30 different books, basically. So that's an option too, if time is limited and you want to get tons of information as well. So those are cool.
Love it. Yeah. Headway, I think even like if you want to sample it, I think they give you one free book each day. So even if you want to download, like, I don't think many of the other apps give you as much. So yeah, if you want like a little taster,
Dang, that's nice.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, and let's be real, that's
a book
basically what most people need. I don't think you want too much more than that. So yeah, I guess like if you subscribe, you probably get more access to what you want versus like you're at the mercy of whatever they release that day. And if you're listening, Blinkist or Headway, feel free to sponsor us.
Oh yeah, come on, let's do it.
Yeah. This week's sponsor is brought to you by the Ikea plant. The Ikea plant is guaranteed to increase your retention on your videos. I was joking to Spencer earlier that we come up with our own sponsors until we get sponsored. So
yeah, let's be real. If you don't have an Ikea plant in your videos, you're not a real YouTuber and you won't succeed.
Yeah. Yeah. I just got my Ikea plant and my view count is through.
I've seen these numbers, folks, and they're incredible.
Oh, man. Spencer, we can't lie. I mean,
I know.
So it may or may not. We'll have to put like a little disclaimer. Results may vary.
Yes. But either way, you're going to be the most successful person in the world if you get an Ikea plant. I hope that humor isn't lost on anyone. If it is,
it's evergreen. It never dies.
It's evergreen. Wow. This is getting better and better. I'm thinking we actually should try to reach out and get a sponsorship. I mean, we've got jokes for days on these guys.
Right.
What? Spirituality. Wow. Spirituality. Buy yourself an Ikea plant and hold it while you sit in silence, and it will increase your longevity as well. That's a good takeaway.
Yeah. I think you hit it on the head. Yeah. Reflect on life and death as you hold this lifeless plant in your hand.
Wow, we've really gone off the tracks here. I think spirituality honestly could start with setting time aside for just quiet time, whether that's reading something that helps you with your spirituality or literally some form of meditation. Yeah, just again, atomic habit. Let's take 5 minutes a day or 5 minutes a week, whatever. I'm a big believer, and I think this is part of the Atomic Habits idea, if I remember correctly, is starting with those teeny little habits that allow you to improve and grow upon them. Start with something that seems laughably easy and grow from there. So anything you have for spirituality before we close it out?
Yeah, no, I think you hit it on the head. I think absolutely silence is so important. I think they've shown health benefits even to it. I always like, if there's an extra benefit that we can throw in there, I mean, extra benefits. So yeah, there's health benefits to silence. So embrace it. It can be awkward at first, but just get past that awkwardness.
Yeah.
It's good.
I would recommend don't do it in a public park because that could be even more awkward. Do it by yourself in your house, maybe.
Awesome. Well, this has been a fun episode. I've enjoyed our, especially our sponsorship. Yeah, we'll have to work on our sponsor list.
We really got something going for us there. So,
love it.
Thanks, Paul. It's been fun.
It's been a pleasure and an honor as always, and hopefully you, the listener, got something out of it. If you wouldn't mind, follow us. Rate, subscribe, all that great stuff. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We'd love to hear from you. We got a YouTube channel. We got the video up on Spotify now, so you can watch us on Spotify. Basically, wherever you listen to your podcast, we're there.
That's right.
And always, I like to plug Spencer's stuff. He's got an awesome YouTube channel, and he's got his own little podcast that he's got. Yeah, it's very... That would be a great kind of meditative thing to do, is listen to Spencer's podcast, because they're just very relaxing. He takes you on a walk with his dog, and you never know when the dog's gonna run off and chase a squirrel, which is the best part. I always love those moments.
he almost pulls me down every time. Yeah, I'll plug Paul too. His stuff a million times better than mine. So if you have to choose between us, go check out his YouTube channel. And yeah, we just appreciate you guys. We love it. Thanks for being part of the fam.
And until next time, stay messy, my friends. Man, I just lost my choo-choo.
Your choo-choo.
Oh, man. We're in Chattanooga, so we call it the choo-choo.
Oh, that's so great.